Chapter 664, Snow Flutters Down to the World. The battle between the two generals was about to begin. And this news was quickly passed on to all the combatants by the Combat Command Center in 40 Things Field. After hearing the news, Zhang Yi's gaze could not help but fall on the center of Jiangning Square. He narrowed his eyes, as if he could already feel two powerful forces slowly rising there. Even, those were two forces that were no less than his. A thought suddenly popped into Zhang Yi's mind. Should he take this opportunity to go and support Deng Shintong? But the moment this thought arose, he dismissed it himself. He didn't know Deng Shintong's abilities, nor did he know the trump card of Eclipse Moon. If the abilities couldn't achieve good cooperation, or even be restrained, 1 + 1 might be less than 2. Moreover, he couldn't guarantee that Eclipse Moon didn't have other tricks up its sleeve. Headquarters has already made a perfect plan, allowing them, the outsiders from the outer cities, to create good combat conditions for the Heavenly Squad. I believe Deng Shintong is capable of handling the situation there. Zhang Yi shrugged and said indifferently, even if the worst situation occurs, it is still within my ability to accept. Before, the headquarters told us outsiders to be the bait to force Eclipse Moon to reveal his strength. This time, I will use the members of the Heavenly Squad as bait to test Eclipse Moon's true strength. He did not bother with the battle in the center of Jiangning Square, but quickly rushed to the northern front line a few kilometers away, as ordered by the headquarters. Battles were taking place all over the battlefield, and with the Heavenly Squad's defeat, the battle had officially entered a white-hot stage. On the western front, Bai Chunyu, Li Taichang, and Luo Tianxiang were facing off against Daiku Kaido, Sakuraba Yoshimitsu, and Kurosawa Akio. Seeing that the vice-captains of the Tenjin squad had all gone down, Sakuraba Yoshimitsu and Kurosawa Akio could no longer afford to just watch the show. They stood up and silently walked up behind Daiku Kaido, but kept their distance from him by more than 10 body lengths. It seems that even his teammates don't like to get too close to this monster. When Daiku Kaido fights, he doesn't distinguish between friend and foe, because his power is too strong and he can't control it well. The number of his companions who have been killed while acting together with him is almost double digits. Bai Chunyu gathered the smile on his face and his expression was cold and frightening. Let's get started. A quick battle and quick conclusion, we don't have much time to waste here. As soon as he finished speaking, his entire body suddenly became illusory, and then very suddenly, his body began to disintegrate, not disintegrate, but into countless white snowflakes. Snowflakes in the world. As Bai Chunyu changed, the temperature of the surrounding air seemed to have dropped a few more degrees, completely extinguishing the residual warmth after the bombing. Even the snowflakes in the air became denser and denser, enveloping the entire battlefield. Disappeared? Daiku Kaido and Jin narrowed his eyes and cautiously scanned the surroundings. No, he's around. Huh. The snowflakes in the air were increasing in number, and the hexagonal snowflakes had become so dense that they could block a person's view. Suddenly, from 3 directions, large blizzards attacked Daiku Kaido and Jin. Daiku Kaitenjin gripped the dragonfly blade in his hand and slashed directly at his surroundings. But this attack had no effect on the millions of snowflakes. The next moment, the blizzard arrived in front of him and submerged him. Whoosh! 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 Millions of snowflakes were flying, but the sound they made was strangely like flying knives slicing through objects. The originally soft and white snowflakes had now turned into incredibly sharp blades, and countless 6-sided flying knives began mercilessly slicing through the entire body of Daiku Kaido and Jin. Tiny wounds appeared all over his body, and blood was spilling out in a thin stream. The feeling was no different from being cut up by thousands of knives. Even a body as strong as an iron frame could not withstand such an intense attack. Daiku Kaido's face showed signs of pain. Get out of the way! He wildly swung the dragonfly blade in his hand, but no matter how powerful he was, and no matter how sharp his weapon was, it was impossible to cut up the thousands of snowflakes. Roar! Daiku Kaido let out a roar, and a powerful aura burst out from his body. He charged headlong through the snowflakes, dispersing them. However, the snowflakes were already piling up around him, forming a huge canopy above his head. The snowflakes, transformed by Baichunyu, were specifically designed to restrain people like him, who relied on brute strength alone. Daiku Kaido Yenjin heard Baichunyu's cold voice echoing around him. "No matter how powerful you are, can you smash the snowflakes?" Daiku Kaido Yenjin was about to say something when suddenly a gap appeared in the wall of snow in front of him. Li Taichang, wearing heavy armor and holding a huge anchor, rushed over like a humanoid titan, and the anchor in his hand smashed down on his head. Bang! Daiku Kaido hastily blocked with his dragonfly blade, and the collision between the dragonfly blade and the anchor made a deafening sound. The collision between the two top-level enhanced aliens directly shattered the land beneath their feet. Li Taichang's eyes showed a solemn expression. He used Baichunyu's snowflakes of the world cover to launch an attack, but it was actually a surprise attack, and it was actually blocked by the opponent's one-handed defense. Daikikai Yenjin revealed his white fangs and laughed maniacally as he watched Li Taichang's eyes peeking out from his armor. Not bad at all. Quite interesting indeed. Arrogant. Li Taichang attacked with both hands, one holding an anchor, while the other held a long chain with a human-sized mace tied to the end. He raised the mace high above his head and smashed it towards Daiku Kaido Yenjin. However, Baichunyu's attacks did not let up in the slightest, and he continued to attack Daiku Kaido's body with countless flying snowflakes. Even if it was a body made of the hardest steel, it could not withstand the tens of thousands of cuts per second from Baichunyu's snowflakes, which were as sharp as a scalpel. However, Daiku Kaido was not fighting alone. Seeing what was happening, Sakuraba Yoshimitsu and Kurosawa Kimichi immediately came to his aid. Sakuraba Yoshiaki held his left hand on his right wrist, and his right hand's 5 fingers were pointed at Daikawa Inatsu. An invisible shockwave was released in an instant. Baichunyu was about to continue his attack when he suddenly felt his body sink, and his movements became sluggish. Li Taichang also felt his limbs become heavier. This is gravity? They immediately understood what the other party's ability was. Eclipse Moon Team Number 13, Sakuraba Yoshimitsu, Ability Code. It can enhance gravity indiscriminately within a fixed area. This ability had a significant impact on Baichunyu. Because his snowflakes of the world technique transforms him into countless snowflakes, he is more affected by gravity. However, for the powerful Daiku Kaido, this level of gravity field is nothing. Chapter 665, Snow Mountain Thunderbolt Falcon. Sakuraba Eiji's gravity field greatly relieved the pressure on Daiku Kaido. It wasn't the first time the two had cooperated. Daiku Kaido was able to adapt to this doubling of gravity. However, Baichunyu and Li Taichang were a little uncomfortable. Daiku Kaido grinned, and of course he wouldn't miss this opportunity. He swung the dragonfly blade in his hand and slashed down at Li Taichang's forehead. As a Yokozuna, he didn't know how to use weapons. His style of fighting was simple, brute force. One force breaks through 10,000 laws. Li Taichang gazed at the situation, quickly chose to retreat and draw away, then swung the 10-meter-long chain in his hand towards Daikawa Yenjin. The end of the mace pointed directly at his chest. A blunt weapon attack does not need to be aimed at the vital points. As long as it hits the body and causes damage, it can quickly make the opponent lose combat effectiveness. Although Daiku Kaido Yenjin was conceited, he had experienced Li Taichang's strength before and did not dare to take it lightly. However, for an attack from this distance, he could use a one-handed dragonfly cut to deflect it. Li Taichang was wearing heavy armor, but his movements were not slowed down at all. He fought at a distance because he was used to moving in a gravity field. Soon, he mastered the method of attacking in this gravity state and began to skillfully engage in a dogfight with Daiku Kaiten. Once, he was also a top martial arts performer in the Huagua country and a master of using a meteor hammer. After obtaining supernormal abilities, he made up for his physical shortcomings and truly made him a powerful otherworldly being. Technically, I'm top-notch. I'm also top-notch in strength, Li Taichang said. So when he met the burly Yokozuna in front of him, he didn't feel the slightest bit of fear. He believed in himself and his team. Bai Chunyu's offensive was affected, and the gravity field was a bit deadly for his abilities. Xue Pioran encountered the gravity field and it was difficult for him to fly. He said to Luo Tianxiang, "Help me take out the guy who manipulates gravity first." Luo Tianxiang replied, "Roger that." He lightly pushed off the ground with his feet, and the entire person suddenly soared up into the sky. In the air, he grew a pair of huge white wings, and his body transformed into that of a giant bird. Luo Tianxiang, an orc-type ability user, is a rare beast species. Luo Tianxiang quickly soared hundreds of meters into the sky, and even from such a great distance, he could clearly see everything on the ground. This comes from his ability, which can dynamically capture everything moving on the ground. He locked in on the location of Sakuraba Yoshimitsu, and spat out a white lightning bolt, which fell like a sharp sword. The lightning was too fast, but this time, Luo Tianxiang's transformation was in front of several people. So they were prepared long ago. At the moment the lightning fell, Sakuraba Yoshimitsu's body mysteriously leaped backwards, retreating dozens of meters directly. His body was light as if it had no mass. In addition to being able to project a gravity field, he could also exert it on himself, allowing him to walk on a planet with half the weight of the moon. As a result, his speed and strength were greatly enhanced. Luo Tianxiang let out a loud cry from his mouth, and his claws condensed with lightning, as one after another bolt of lightning fell towards the ground in succession. The trio of Eclipse Moon are all within his attack range. And soaring high in the sky, he looks down on the earth like a king. At this distance, almost no one can attack him. This is his favorite game of cat and mouse. But at this moment, Kurosawa Akira Ibyu reached out and shook off the black leather jacket, revealing the huge black hand cannon on his right arm. Time to hunt. Kurosawa Ibyu raised his hand cannon and aimed it at Luo Tianxiang in the air. Without hesitation, he pulled the trigger. A yellow light shot up into the sky, turning into a bright light beam that instantly came to Luo Tianxiang's front. Swish! Luo Tianxiang turned around and dodged Kurosawa Ibyu's attack in the air. As the king of the air, he was also extremely fast, and this clumsy hand cannon attack could not hit him. Seeing this, Bai Chunyu was about to transform into a snowflake and go over to help, when he suddenly heard a cry for help from behind him. "Sub-team, come and help me." In just 10 seconds, the battle between Daiku Kaido and Li Taichang had already gone on for hundreds of times. Daiku Kaido's method of attack was incredibly simple and crude. He just charged at Li Taichang and forced him to compete with him in strength. The heavy, sharp dragonfly sword in his hands was constantly being smashed down, but even though it was clearly a sharp weapon, he used it like a blunt one. After all, for Daiku Kaiten, he was not good at using weapons. He chose the dragonfly sword simply because he admired the legendary warrior Tadakatsu Honda. But when it came to fighting, he still found it more convenient to use this thing as a club. Li Taichang also has a fiery temper, and he chose to fight Dagamawari Yenjin head-on, carrying an anchor in each hand. But after a few exchanges, he realized something was wrong. In terms of strength, he was no match for Dagamawari Yenjin at all. The Shachihoko form, which is up to 3 meters tall after transformation, makes Dagamawari Yenjin, a Yokozuna himself, almost invincible in the realm of strength. Bing bong! Dragonfly slashed hard at the anchor. After just a few dozen collisions, Li Taichang felt like he was about to lose the feeling in his hands, and his back was tingling. After 100 rounds, his legs finally became unsteady, and he fell to his knees with a plop. However, Daiku Kaido had no intention of stopping. Looking at the heavily armored guy struggling to stand, he felt a surge of rage. He wanted to smash the coward hiding behind the armor to a pulp. Finally, Li Taichang's arms could no longer support his weight. Even though he was wearing battle armor custom-made by Deng's Industries, the difference in strength between the two sides was still too great. Daiku Kaido's right hand trembled, and the anchor in his hand flew out of his hand. Bai Chunyu saw that Li Taichang could not defeat Daiku Kaido, and he was not surprised. After all, the opponent was the second in command of the Eclipse Moon organization, and he did not expect Li Taichung to win. The reason for bringing Li Taichung here was to be able to hold him off head-on. Although Li Taichung was calling for help, his body was extremely swift, swimming along the ground, and the thick, long iron chain in his hand was swung at the legs of Daiku Kaikai Yanjin, trying to contain him. Seeing this, Bai Chunyu said to Luo Tianxiang via the communication device, "You contain the two guys behind, I'll go help Li Taichung kill the big guy first." "Okay, I'll take care of them." Luo Tianxiang looked down from hundreds of meters above the ground, and dozens of bolts of lightning shot out from between his huge claws, shooting towards Kurosawa Akira and Sakuraba Yoshimitsu. These two people were forced to retreat step by step. Their methods were very disadvantageous against Luo Tianxiang. Soaring above the ninth heaven, Luo Tianxiang was extremely fast, and even Kurosawa Akira's hand cannon was unable to aim and shoot. Chapter 666, The Way of Power. Li Taichung was unable to defeat Daiku Kaido Yanjin head-on, and could only use tricks to delay the fight and shout for Bai Chunyu to come to his aid. Seeing this, Bai Chunyu had no choice but to turn back and cooperate with him to attack Daiku Kaido Yanjin. A skywide snowstorm swept in, covering a large area. At this time, Bai Chunyu has transformed into thousands of beings, so even if he shatters some of the snowflakes, it does not have a significant effect on him. On the contrary, because of the characteristics of the beast transformation, Daiku Kaitenjin is unable to wear battle armor, leaving his skin exposed. Being attacked by Bai Chunyu for a long time is like being cut with a dull knife, and sooner or later he will be exhausted to death. However, this time, Daiku Kaitenjin was not panicked by Bai Chunyu's attacks. Many people mistakenly believe that sumo wrestlers, who are hundreds of kilograms of brawn, are idiots with only brawn and no brains. Daiku Kaido Yanjin has always sneered at this kind of thinking. If a warrior who fights with his body doesn't have enough wisdom to deal with his opponent, how can he win on the battlefield? If he were that kind of simple person, he wouldn't have survived until now after the end of the world. It's ridiculous to think that he can use the same trick on me. Daiku Kaitenjin laughed, revealing his white teeth. Then, in the midst of the storm, he did not dodge the millions of snowflakes flying at him, but raised the 3-meter-long dragonfly blade high in the air with both hands. His hands moved the dragonfly blade around at a tremendous speed. Soon the dragonfly knife started spinning like a pinwheel, and then a huge whirlwind formed around his body. The countless snowflakes that had transformed Bai Chunyu were caught up in the whirlwind and lost their ability to move. This guy. Bai Chunyu was shocked. He didn't expect this big guy to think of a way to deal with his abilities so quickly. But at this time, if he disengaged his transformation form, he would definitely be directly strangled by Daiku Kaitenjin at close range. "Don't even think about trapping me in this way," Bai Chunyu shouted, and the snowstorm began to dissipate into the distance. However, the movements in Daiku Kaiten's hands became faster and faster, and a hurricane formed around him that was visible to the naked eye. The powerful wind pressure created an absolute pressure difference, and Bai Chunyu, who was trying to escape, was forced to gather around him. No matter how Bai Chunyu's avatar tried to escape, he was mercilessly dragged back. Damn. Bai Chunyu finally began to panic. But before Li Taichung could catch his breath and help him out, all the surrounding snowflakes were condensed together by the artificially created whirlwind of Daiku Kaiten. Bai Chunyu turned into a large, solid mass of ice around Daiku Kaiten, firmly compressed together by the wind pressure. Daiku Kaitenjin jumped high into the air, then slammed his hand down, driving the huge ice pillar shaped like a whirlwind deep into the ground. Then he stamped his right foot hard, causing the ground to shake violently and the earth and rocks to collapse. In this way, Bai Chunyu was temporarily sealed under the ground. Although this would not kill Bai Chunyu, he would not be able to escape for a while. Seeing this, Luo Tianxiang and Li Taichung panicked a little. Bai Chunyu was the main force among the three of them, and now that Bai Chunyu had been sealed, the combat effectiveness of the two of them had obviously suffered a huge blow. Especially against the terrifying orc-like strongman Daiku Kaiten, their means of attack would be ineffective. "No, we must rescue Lieutenant Bai." Otherwise, Li Taichang won't be able to stop that monster sumo wrestler. Luo Tianxiang had to change his target of attack. He quickly spun in the air, then rushed in the direction where Daiku Kaiten was located, spitting out streams of sharp lightning from his mouth and claws, targeting Daiku Kaiten's torso. Daiku Kaiten's speed was not his strong point, and he was unable to dodge this lightning attack. Streams of lightning fell directly from the sky onto his body, surrounded by electric light. Crackling. But the flashes of lightning that danced around him did not cause much damage. Daiku Kaito Yanjin laughed coldly, "This level of attack cannot hurt me. Luo Tianxiang's superpower is lightning, but this is only the bioelectricity transformed by his superpower, not actual lightning. Otherwise, with the power contained in that 100,000-volt lightning, even Daiku Kaito Yanjin would be afraid to take it head-on." Luo Tianxiang's pupils suddenly contracted, and a bad feeling came over him. He even felt an urge to escape. They had underestimated the target of this operation. These Neon Rangers who had crossed the sea did not have any weaker strength than their Tenjin squad. Luo Tianxiang gritted his teeth. He knew that he had no other choice at the moment. The battle was being watched by the higher-ups at headquarters. He absolutely must not flee. With this thought in mind, a more massive spherical lightning began to coalesce in his mouth. He was going to deliver a fatal blow, at least forcing Daiku Kaiten to leave the land, giving Bai Chunyu a chance to escape. However, just as he was gathering his strength, Daiku Kaiten suddenly assumed a strange posture. He raised his dragonfly blade in his right hand, his body slightly stooped, and his slender, athletic body stretched like a bow. Oh no! Luo Tianxiang immediately realized what the guy was going to do. "I have to hide." He flapped his wings to fly away, but the dragonfly blade came straight through the air. Daiku Kaiten no Tsuyu may not be fast, but he possesses the greatest physical strength. With this strength, the dragonfly blade directly emitted a piercing sonic boom in the air. A strike several times the speed of sound. Luo Tianxiang did not dodge this strike. His body was directly pierced through the air, and the huge dragonfly blade even penetrated his body, continuing to fly towards the sky for some distance with scarlet blood. Luo Tianxiang felt that in that instant, all the strength in his body had been emptied. Looking down, he saw that a huge hole had appeared between his chest and abdomen, going through the front and back. Immediately afterwards, he fell headfirst from a height of several hundred meters. Luo Lao! Li Taichang's eyes were bulging with rage, and he was extremely frightened. Bai Chunyu had been sealed, and Luo Tianxiang had been pierced through the torso, his life unknown. Now he was alone. How could he contend with the three in front of him? Even though he was wearing the armor tailored for him by the Deng group, he could not help but feel fear for the battle ahead. Reality did not give him time to think. Even after discarding his dragonfly blade, Daiku Kaito Yanjin looked at him with a cold smile, but then charged at him like lightning. Ah! Li Taichang roared, dragging the chain, picking up the huge anchor, and charging at it. Chapter 667 Liao Honglei vs Shingoji Saikairo. Daiku Kaito Yanjin suppressed Bai Chunyu with one move and pierced Luo Tianxiang with a spear. Within a short period of time, he had eliminated two of the three major combatants of the Tenjin squad. This scene was clearly observed here in the Combat Command Center. Zhu Zheng's teeth were clenching noisily. It is not that the Heavenly Squad cannot be defeated, but he finds it hard to accept that they have been completely crushed so quickly. Not just him. Even Tu Yunlai and the others did not expect such an outcome. Clearly, they had used the best personnel allocation method. On the battlefield, only Li Taichang was still struggling to hold on. However, without the help of his two teammates, he was unable to hold out on his own. Daiku Kaito Yanjin looked down on him condescendingly, his excited eyes like a beast that had found its prey. It had been too long since he had encountered an enhanced alien of this level. In the past, his enemies had been easily crushed into a meatball. Only Li Taichang could fight him hand-to-hand for a while. "Come on, kid. Let's see how long you can hold out." Li Taichang's forehead was covered in cold sweat, but at this point, he had no choice but to fight to the death. He gritted his teeth and touched a switch in the glove with his right hand. Immediately, a short needle appeared from the armored device and pierced his skin. The biotechnology drug from Blizzard City, Compound 2, could allow him to burst out with tremendous power for a short period of time. However, this drug was still in the experimental stage and had extremely severe side effects. It was given to the investigation team for use in desperate situations. Even if they survived the immediate crisis, there was a high probability that they would die within a short period of time. However, he could no longer care about that. Compound 2 quickly entered his bloodstream and flowed through his veins. A strong burning sensation rose from Li Taichang's body. He felt like he was about to explode. That powerful force, which almost burned him to the bone, urgently needed a place to release. Daiku Kaiketsu Yenjin saw this change in him, and the smile on the corner of his mouth became even more excited. "No one come over, I want to fight him one-on-one." Li Taichang, with bloodshot eyes, roared and charged at Daiku Kaiketsu Yenjin. Ah! On the battlefield, blood and flesh flew everywhere. The sound of shocking explosions and weapons clashing resounded through the sky. After only 3 minutes, peace was restored once again. Gu Feiyu's head was in Sakurabai Shiko's hands. The fate of Bai Chunyu was unknown. And Li Taichang had completely disappeared. Only his set of oddly shaped heavy armor remained, along with the bloodstains all over the ground. Using Compound 2, he kept pushing his limits and, in this high-intensity battle, his limbs quickly disintegrated. The northern front had completely collapsed. Orikawa Shigenabu's eyes were a little disappointed. "Is that the end? What a pity, I haven't been this happy in a long time." Behind him, the heavy artilleryman Kurosawa Akira said indifferently, "The outcome of the battle was predetermined a long time ago, wasn't it? Takeuchi-san's divinations have never been wrong." In the operations command center, Zhu Zheng's face was grim and terrifying. His voice had changed a bit. "How could this happen? A complete defeat, it's a complete defeat." Lan Xincheng saw Zhu Zheng's appearance and hurriedly came forward to comfort him. "After all, the other side is also Eclipse Moon's top combat power. Now we have confirmed that Eclipse Moon's strength is no less than the investigation team. As long as we can win on the other battlefields, especially if Deng Shintong can succeed in beheading him, we will still be the winners." Zhu Zheng looked up, his eyes as gloomy as ink. He didn't say a word, his eyes fixed on the other battlefronts. On the northern front, the situation had reversed. Deputy Captain Liao Honglei had come alone. The two deputy captains of the Heavenly Squad were Bai Chunyu and Liao Honglei. However, although they were of the same rank, their responsibilities were quite different. Most of the time, Bai Chunyu is both military advisor and logistics manager. Liao Honglei, on the other hand, is a purist martial artist. At the cost of sacrificing Xingyang, Shuofeiyu and others, he gained insight into the abilities of Shinkaku's internal and external paths and Shinichiro Akutsu. With a sudden surprise attack, the two were rendered defenseless and directly disabled. Seeing that Liao Honglei was about to kill the two members of Eclipse Moon, a huge flaming red dog appeared from the thick fog and pounced on him. The second in command of Eclipse Moon, the Onmyoji Shinjiuji Saikairo, joined the battle. He was accompanied by 5 Shikigami, the golden giant ape Kanemaru, the silver six-tailed fox Genmaru, the blue bird Amaru, the red three-headed dog Akamaru, and the gray crow Haimaru. Liao Honglei saw Shinji Akiro Jinguji appear in the middle of the battlefield and his face revealed a lofty fighting spirit. "A neon Onmyoji? Interesting. The left-hand side door of the left-hand path stolen from the Huagua is now used against me. Do you really think you can win?" Shinji Akiro Jinguji naturally understood Liao Honglei's taunts through the translation function of the headset. A sneer came from the corner of his mouth. "I remember an old Chinese saying, a disciple is not necessarily inferior to his master, and a master is not necessarily superior to his disciple. It seems that you have all forgotten this saying." He stared at Liao Honglei and said, "Word for word, we have realized something better." Liao Honglei suddenly moved while he was talking. His body was as fast as lightning, lowering his body and charging towards Shinguji Saikairo. But Shinjura just waved his right hand, and Kanemaru, who was by his side, blocked his way in front of him. At the same time, the three demon dogs, Akamaru, also burning with hellfire, launched an attack on Liao Honglei from the other direction. Liao Honglei calmly observed everything around him. It seems that the three-headed dog and the giant ape are melee-type Shikigamis, but there are also foxes, bluebirds, and gray crows by his side. That gray crow has been found on everyone during the eclipse, but I haven't seen it manifest its combat capabilities, so it should be an auxiliary type. Liao Honglei basically made a judgment in his heart. He reacted extremely quickly and punched Jin Maru in front of him. The power of the 100-step divine fist sent ripples of shock through the air, and the next moment it came to Jin Maru's body. Pop! Inside the huge body of Kanemaru, an invisible wave slowly appeared, directly tearing open a huge opening in his abdomen. However, immediately afterwards, a golden light appeared from Kanemaru's wound, repairing him as good as new. Kanemaru roared as he charged at Liao Honglei, his fists raised high, and smashed down on his head like a mountain pressing down.